Here we are once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's back for the show under the big top. Yes, that's us, the Mike and Mully Show, also known as the Top 10 Movie Podcast with Mike and Mully. I'm Mully, that's Mike. Mike, we are looking forward to 2025 on this podcast. As we wrap up 2024, how would you wrap up 2024 when it comes to movies? And then when you look forward to 2025, maybe just some words that might come to mind about what's coming up.
Impressive, exciting. Those are probably the two best words I could just use to describe both movies in 2024 and 2025.
Nice.
Just based on the list of some movies that I've seen that are coming out in 2025, and the movies that we covered in our best of 2024. And then there were even other movies that weren't on our list that were still quality, but just weren't as good as the list. So that's why I say exciting. It's an exciting time in the industry because I think there's there's a shift in the quality of movies are getting back to form after COVID. After the writer's strike, after the actor's strike, and I think a lot of people are really upset with a lot of the content that's been coming out, as far as just audiences. And I think the industry is starting to finally go back to listening to audiences and their gripes and their concerns. And so I think we're going to start getting back to form, so to speak, pre-COVID to a higher quality of film, even on the streaming networks as well.
And I agree with you about the 2025 for sure. I think for me, if anybody who listened to our previous podcast, the best of movies 2024, my list I felt was really thin, like the thinnest it's been in years. Just because I didn't make it out of the theaters a lot last year, because there wasn't a lot of movies that I felt compelled to have to go to the theater to go see that I couldn't wait at some point on streaming for. I think the quality of the movie and the hype that I have for it is a direct connection to whether I'll go to the theater or not at this point. And it's getting harder and harder every year to make me, and I think a lot of other people, go to the theaters just for the theater experience alone and not because it's a high quality movie, a movie that you have to see on the big screen. It was really thin for me last year. I think it's better based on what I'm seeing for 2025. So yeah. I'm excited to do this list with you, find out what's on your list.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little wager here about how many we're matching. Mike thinks we're going to do just 2 out of the 10 and we're going to match. 2. I'm thinking more like 4, so we'll see who wins by the end of this.
All right.
Mike, I'm going to come out with a bang.
Okay.
Bang, I'm going to shock you.
Okay.
I'm going to shock you. While not a typical horror film.
Oh, what?
The top, not the most anticipated, because this is not in any order, but the first one that I'm going to start with is a movie that I recently saw a trailer for the first time. Hadn't heard anything about it prior to that. It is teasing at something horrific that's taking place in this movie. And the title of this movie is called The Gorge.
Okay.
All right.
It's on my list.
Miles Teller. Hey, there we go. All right. Miles Teller, Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anya,
excuse me.
That's the actor you didn't know anything about when I talked to you about before.
I've known her a little bit more now. I mean, Furiosa, right? And I've seen her in something else.
The movie with James McAvoy where he's the Beast. It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, it was a continuation of People at Home Screaming Will Hear You.
Yeah, I'm on the blank, but that movie, yes.
And so...
she's also in Dune 2. She plays a small role as Paul Atreides' grown-up sister in his vision.
Okay.
That's her.
For those who don't know about The Gorge is an Apple TV Apple Plus exclusive, so it's not coming to theaters. Unfortunately, I think it should.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these movies that are going straight to streaming that I'm looking forward to, I wish they were in the theaters first. But basically, Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy get hired as 2 highly trained operatives that are stationed on opposite sides of this giant Grand Canyon-like chasm. And then the whole plot about these two, these two specialized, I would say, snipers is really what they're kind of presented as. They're tasked with protecting each of their side of the gorge. and what's coming out of it. Now they don't ever reveal in the trailer, and I'm not sure they should ever reveal until the movie
But they're going
actually
to.
comes out. I
Unfortunately,
don't want them
they
to.
will. Yeah.
That something evil is in this gorge, or some, what they call in the trailer, the door to hell or the gates of hell are down there. Now, whether that's literal or if that's some figurative of something just really bad down there, if it's dinosaurs, if it's monsters, whatever it is, we don't know. That's where the horror end of it kind of comes from. But in the trailer, not giving anything away because we don't really know much about what we saw in the trailer. The two operatives are not supposed to speak. They end up start communicating non-verbally to each other to the point where they're kind of the only company that they have up there, it seems. And then one of them falls into the gorge and the other goes down to go get them. And now we get to discover what's in there. So my hope is that the build-up, because there's so much build-up to what's in there, whatever is in there lives up to that build-up. That's always the fear with these movies. That it's just going to be disappointing once they get down there.
And that's why I think they're going to eventually show the monster in the next trailer.
I hope they don't.
Yeah.
I hope they keep it a
I
mystery.
do too.
And if I can avoid it, I probably will try to, because this movie's coming up relatively quickly. It's February 14th. That's a good time for me to go ahead and get Apple Plus on the 7-day trial and binge the rest of Ted Lasso that I need to go see
Oh my
and watch
gosh.
this. I think I've seen the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
And that's just how much I could squeeze into my first 7-day trial.
I hear you.
But now I'm going to try to get to 7-day trial again and I guess squeeze this movie in along with those shows. So
I gotta say,
go
you know,
ahead.
I
You,
love-
you have it on your list too, so please dive in.
I first want to say I love that the film industry's basically giving Valentine's Day the big middle finger. Because I think this isn't the only movie like this that's going to be released on or around Valentine's Day.
Oh, you're not right.
There's a few others. They're not on my list, but there's a few others that I've been hearing
Oh, the
about.
next one on my list is on the same day.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And we're not getting. It's like almost like what we had for what we just had for Christmas. Like we have Nosferatu.
Yeah,
We
that's
had this.
non-traditional
Yeah.
Christmas
Nicole Kidman's erotic thriller is all just came out on Christmas Day.
movie.
Baby Girl, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm looking forward to it. We haven't had an erotic thriller in a while, so it's like
Talk about opening up a present on Christmas.
right. And then there was something else that is recently came out too that wasn't really like Christmas themed, but it's like Hollywood's giving the middle finger to these holiday seasons, and I love that they're basically really doing this for V-Day.
Is it that, or are they just giving up on the holiday films making any money during the holidays? Like I don't know. What's the last Christmas movie that came out that was like made a lot of money at Christmas time? I think Elf. Maybe it's the last one that I kind of remember, but I don't even know if
go
that
back
was
that
huge.
far?
I don't even know if it was that. I mean, what are we, Fred Claus? I mean, what are we talking about? We're going back to Jingle All the Way,
Well,
or you know what I mean?
yeah, because
that's not many.
The
There's not many.
last decade or so, it's really been more about the big tentpole film that's out around the holiday.
That's true.
It's usually it's like a James Bond or Mission Impossible, or it
Morbius.
was a Star. Nope, I said big box office. Star Wars, The Force Awakens.
That's true. Yeah,
The two,
a bunch of
the
those.
two after dropped around Christmas.
It's always something big. You're right.
always something big.
So this year, what is it? Mustafa? Is it?
Nosferatu, or that was. There's nothing else out that's a big hit right now that people are talking about.
Oh, Wicked, but it's been out.
What's
a
the
while.
movie with Timothy Chalamet? He's playing. Bob
Oh
Dylan.
yeah, it's a. I know the movie you're talking about. The name is so different from what it should be called. I don't.
It's
you know,
like a complete something.
complete unknown.
Yeah, that's what
something
it is.
like
Complete
that.
unknown. That's it.
Like it's just. That's what the title is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely unknown. I don't know any. That title does not match what the movie is to me. It's probably a song lyric or something.
Yeah.
That I don't know of. But I like that. I want to go see that movie. That's a pretty good movie.
Mm-hmm. But-
I'm not sure if I will go actually to the theater to see it. But please, I'm sorry. Let's go back to
Yeah,
the gorge.
to the gorge. I mean, you pretty much covered everything I would have said, except there were hints of the trailer that gave off like there might be like romantic chemistry between the characters
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, because like you said, they aren't supposed to be able to communicate.
Right.
Or they shouldn't be for whatever reason, which I'm sure they'll explain that at some point too. And you also forgot Sigourney Weaver's in this.
I don't remember her being in it.
Yeah.
so.
I think she might be the one who sends Anya out there to her post. But the fact that she's in it, I don't think her name holds as much weight in films as it used to, like in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah.
But just to see her name pop up, it always makes you reminisce of like, what was that movie? The Cabin in the Woods, Aliens, Ghostbusters. So it makes you reminisce back to some of those iconic movies, and maybe this could be another one of those in her list in her belt.
For me, Galaxy Quest, but that's just
I mean, also Galaxy Quest, yeah, which I
just-
never saw, but
to me. It's for me.
but she's one of those names when you see her in the cast list, you instantly think of those movies.
Avatar, and
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah, Avatar as well. So
Yeah.
maybe this will be another one of those 5 to 7 years from now. We think of her, we think of this movie.
Well, Miles Teller, Anya Taylor Joy, they're young, not even up. They're young, established names, and you just surround them, with veteran, experienced actors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sigourney Weaver's not gonna. She's not gonna be a star. In
No,
this.
no, no. So it's like she fits that mold
Right.
perfectly, right?
Yeah.
It's great supporting characters.
But I'm excited to see it. I was surprised that this was Apple TV attached because it looked like a big screen movie just
Yeah.
from what I saw.
Yeah.
So I'm excited just to see. Like I said, what I was saying earlier, I think we're getting back to bigger, more spectacle movies coming to streaming services. That's what excites me because I've kind of had opposite stance on movies on streaming. I didn't really watch any in 2024. I didn't see any that stood out to me that made me really want to go to it and watch it. I'd rather pay $15 and possibly get disappointed versus go to a streaming service that I pay for month after month and know I'm not going to like it.
Well, we've touched on this before, but I will say this: the commitment is different. When I go to a theater, I pay to sit there, and I don't think I've ever walked out on one. I just sit through it. Like we've talked about, I haven't been able to get through Oppenheimer yet because it's so boring so quickly to me. If I was at the theater and purchased $15 ticket to go see it, I'm sitting through all 3 hours of that movie up to the credits anyway.
Up to the credits.
Right, but I tried to stream it on Peacock the other day or a couple months ago, and I was bored so quickly. I didn't even give it enough time. So
People like you, man. It's people like you.
sorry, that's just the truth.
offensive.
My attention span is a lot shorter than it used to be. Okay, so that was on both of our lists, but I started. So let me go to your second one, I guess technically.
Yep. So second one, first one officially on my list is a movie called Black Bag.
Ooh.
This is going to be a spy thriller, spy drama. The stars Michael Fassbender, who's
Okay.
been popping up everywhere lately.
I've seen this trailer. I've seen this.
Kate Blanchett, who I always love, knocks it out of the park every time, and Pierce Brosnan. And he's kind of like a Sigourney Weaver, where you see his name. To me, his name still holds a little more weight.
I loved him as Dr. Fate.
And that's what I initially thought of too, was Dr. Fate, and then of course his version of James Bond we got in the early mid '90s. Some hits or misses that we discussed it before multiple times on the podcast, but like to see these three names attached to a spy thriller, and it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, one of my top 5 favorite directors. I'm super excited about this because I feel like he can really shoot a movie with a very specific tone, and I think this is his tone. Like it's gonna be, if Ocean's 11 didn't have any humor, this is what the tone would be for Black Bag. And Steven Soderbergh has another movie coming out that's on this list as well.
Oh,
Looking
a
forward to
little
it. So,
teaser.
Yep.
I still, my concern with the Fassbender thing, like, what is he, when he's the lead, I just, sometimes I don't know that there's been a lot with him in the lead that's actually done well. And that's my concern with this one. It's just going to be another one of the Assassin's Creed.
It's funny that you say that because there was a David Fincher movie that actually was for Netflix. I think it was called, it wasn't called The Hitman, but he is a hitman. And I hadn't seen it yet, but I love David Fincher. He's probably my second favorite director. But I didn't hear a lot of good things about that movie, and he is the star of that movie. Like a lot of it kind of is him speaking to himself, and like he's just basically narrating for the audience. But it's like you're hearing his thoughts, and then there's really no climax at the end. There's no payoff at the end. So it kind of is to your point. Like again, Assassin's Creed. Also, I wouldn't fault him for that as much because video game adaptations don't normally do well.
It is.
But there's another movie he was in that's a slow burn. Not many people have seen, called The Snowman, and he's basically I think he's like an Interpol agent, and Rebecca Ferguson's in that, and he's after this serial killer who he's been chasing for years. And it was kind of forgettable too, so maybe you have a point.
Yeah, and the best roles I've ever thought about him in are the more supporting roles. Magneto, of course, I think he's really great in that.
But would you
He
watch
was
a
in
movie?
300.
Would you watch a
I thought he
movie
was
with
good in
just
300.
Magneto if he was playing it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I maybe because of what Ian McKellen has done prior and introducing that character, and then we know him as that character because he's filling a role of a character, an established person.
So you think he shines better as an ensemble cast versus the lead?
maybe just as a member of the cast, but not necessarily the lead.
Okay.
That's all my biggest concern, and it may just take one role. It may take his one John Wick or his one Equalizer role, and then some, or like Matt Damon becoming Jason Bourne. If Fassbender becomes the new Jason Bourne or whatever, and then it's going to be a whole thing. So it's not just about the actor, but the stories that he chooses and is being showcased in, and the quality of filmmaking, the people that you surround him with. And look, this has all the elements. It looks like it's got great director, it's got great actors surrounding him.
Right.
This should be a win-win-win. It's just that I just haven't. When I saw it, I was just kind of meh on it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. Well, we'll stay tuned and see. Maybe this will be on the list of the.
I'm sorry, I don't
best
mean
of
to dog on your
2024.
pick. I definitely don't mean to dog on your pick, and I hope it's good.
No, you're not.
So you come back and you tell me, Molly, you got to go watch this.
No,
It's
listen.
so good.
This might be on the list when we wrap up the best of 2025 that didn't make the list. It could be that. We never know.
Okay, Mike, great choice there with the Black Bag. That's the name of it, right?
Yes.
All right, Black Bag with Fassbender. Let's hope that he can pull that one out. Mine's pretty easy. We talked about another movie that's coming out the same time as The Gorge on February 14th. That's coming out. The Gorge is coming out on Apple TV. This is coming out to theaters. It's the big superhero movie that we've kind of been waiting for. Captain America: Brave New World. And one of the more exciting things, outside of this being really Anthony Mackie's first movie as Captain America, he was in the television series with Bucky in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that eventually was titled Captain America and the Winter Soldier by the end of it. Captain America: Brave New World starts, of course, Anthony Mackie. The other than his kind of, it's not debut, but his leading man status in the series of Captain America. It's bringing in a very big heavy hitter to kind of come in and support the storyline. There's going to be a big part of the storyline, which is Harrison Ford coming in as now the president. He replaced John Hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
William Hurt.
William Hurt, who passed away sadly, but he is that character that William Hurt was in the Avengers movies. And that character becoming president, Harrison Ford, perfect pick. Obviously, I think if you could think of all the people who ever played the president in like Morgan Freeman and like guys that you would think, oh man, that would make a great president. Air Force One's Harrison Ford is pretty dang good as a president. You know what I mean?
And we may have to do a top 10 best cinematic presidents list.
Do we have enough?
Well, Morgan Freeman's been the president multiple times, so maybe it's Morgan Freeman 10 times.
That's true. That might make a great list.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Tim Blake Nelson's also in this movie, and a lot of familiar faces if you've been following the Captain America storyline through the Disney Plus television show as well. You'll see a lot of the familiar faces here, but the basic idea behind this is someone has tried to assassinate the president through brainwashing a former not even former, like the original super soldier serum testes.
Oh yeah, because Isaiah Bradley is
Isaiah Bradley, that's right.
Attacks
and he's some kind of Manchurian candidate in the way that he is subliminally forced to try to assassinate the president. There's a big conspiracy. They're saying this is going to harken back to Captain America: Winter Soldier, which I think arguably is the best Captain America movie, but also probably one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Right.
That had a heavy hitter in it, Robert Redford. Now we get Harrison Ford. That's some back-to-back really great supporting actors here. And might not even be supporting. I mean, it could be argued that maybe Harrison Ford character's almost sharing a lot of the screen time here, because I think the introduction of the Red Hulk is going to be, it looks like the climax of this movie. So I'm really psyched to see this, especially if it's going to be anything like or even close to the Winter Soldier. Well, that's one of my favorite ones of the Captain America series. And no, dude, I'm really hyped about this one. I'm interested about you. I know that you're not over the moon about superhero movies. You don't dislike them, but Well, are you looking forward at all to Captain America?
So yeah, even though it's not on the list, with the most recent trailers that I've seen, it's definitely boosted my level of anticipation for the movie for sure. And it's interesting. I don't know if this is just happenstance or if maybe Marvel planned it this way, but I mean, like you said, this is the first time we're getting Sam like in his full feature length movie as Captain America. So there's no Steve Rogers, you know. But so we have a black Captain America essentially, and this movie happens to be released during Black History Month. I think that's interesting.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I don't know if that's accident or was that planned, deliberate. But I'm looking forward to it because I never really believed Sam was like the lead guy.
Yeah.
You know, even if they had chosen Bucky, I would have preferred Bucky, but I still don't think Bucky's the lead guy either. Because again, there's some hard shoes to fill with Chris Evans as Steve Rogers now being gone. Like he played that role. He was my favorite MCU character throughout the whole first 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he always was from the very beginning. I mean, Iron Man's charismatic, but he's a little too arrogant for my taste. But no, I'm excited to see what he does with the role, how he can make it his own, and make it stand apart from what we've seen over the first 10 years of the MCU, and to see like what this branches off to, because this is obviously going to lead to something else.
Yeah.
We just don't know exactly what yet. We assume some version of the Avengers because it's in the trailer. You know, the president's asking him to reform the Avengers, and he wants him to help him do it. So we'll see if that begins in this movie, if it's in a post-credit scene. But I'm looking forward to hopefully this is the movie that gets the MCU back on track.
I agree. I hope so too. I mean, that's always the hope. You want a great bounce back, and it certainly has the talent in place. And what Anthony Mackie brings is a history. Like he's been in these movies and the Avengers for what we're getting like 10 years now, maybe more, and into a television series as well. So like he brings a history with him. He kind of drags that history with him, and then we're getting, for the first time in I think any superhero movie ever, is Harrison Ford. Like we're getting a powerhouse of an actor who's going to be Red Hulk. So
now I have a question for you before you go to the next movie, because I was just talking about this movie with a friend of mine the other day. Would you be happy, surprised, or shocked if Mark Ruffalo's Hulk shows up in this?
happy,
Okay.
definitely.
But if he doesn't,
down
you
for
would
the
be
cameos. I'm fine.
Okay.
With it. I'm down with the cameos.
But if he doesn't show up, would you be disappointed?
No,
Okay.
no, because
Okay.
it's not. Again, I think this is more. How does Anthony Mackie's character as a non-super serum soldier?
Right.
How does that play against a Hulk level character? How do you defeat him? I think it's going to take more than vibranium wings in order for him to beat what is probably one of the more powerful beings in this universe that
agree.
they've set. Like I don't think we saw what Thor and Hulk did to the helicarrier. I don't think anybody has a chance of stopping Hulk if he
Right.
gets in this guy's supposedly that Hulk level. So then how does a guy that all he really has is his skills, his wits, athleticism, and the ability to fly with wings, but vibranium wings, I think is what they're called,
Yeah.
vibranium wings. Like, how does he defeat a Hulk or stop a Hulk? It's big. It's a big ask.
It is.
But I have a feeling. I mean, this is his movie. He's going to find a way to nullify it somehow.
Right. Right.
So I think he's going to have to take his wit and his experience, and but we'll see.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of a cop out if a Hulk has to stop a Hulk,
That's my point too. Yeah.
because then what's
It takes away from
what's Captain America's role?
right. Yeah. You can't take his moment away. So
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so that's my Captain America, and that's not the only superhero movie on my list. So
I wonder what the other one could be.
there's not many.
No.
Not many this year.
Excellent choice.
you.
And one of the reasons I didn't have is because I figured you would pick
You
up
know,
the slack.
you know
You
me.
always
You
do,
know your
man.
boy. You know your
You always
boy.
got my back.
I turn up when it comes to superhero movies. I turn up.
All right, so the next one on my list is it's not a superhero movie, but both of these actors in it have played a version of somebody in a Marvel movie.
Oh.
This movie's called Sinners with Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. So this looks like it's like a horror thriller is what it comes off as, but it looks like it takes place like somewhere in the South. Like I would say maybe like in the 30s or 40s. So it's looks like it's a mostly black cast, which is interesting that Haley Steinfeld's in this because I really want to know what her character is up to because I feel like maybe she's up to no good somehow because she's in this black community as the only white woman. And maybe that means she's going to play somebody we've never seen her play before, which I hope we do because I'm a fan of her as an actor, female actor. But this movie is about so Michael B. Jordan plays he plays twin brothers in this movie. So he plays his character and then his twin brother's character, and they both go away. They leave home for a while, I think, to fight in a war or something like that, and then they come back. And there's some racial undertones in this movie. Like they're going to deal with some of that, but it also seems like they're mixing it in with some supernatural element.
Yeah,
But
that's
we
what
never,
I got.
yeah, we never really see it. It sounds like there's some kind of monster or some beings attacking this town.
The trailer does a good job of not
And I
giving away
love
too much.
that. It almost reminds me of how J.J. Abrams does his trailers. Like he alludes to things but doesn't really show you. He waits till the movie's out. And I hope that, again, kind of like The Gorge, I hope this movie doesn't give us the monster or whatever it is in the trailer. But again, the fact that they have Haley Steinfeld, she's only in like one or two shots in this trailer, which makes me think maybe she's behind it, but I'm still thinking like a supernatural or paranormal entity or something like
Did it
that.
give you Lovecraft vibes?
It did.
Yeah,
Very
that's what
much
it
so.
did.
Yeah. And also, this is directed by Ryan Coogler, so it's like
Black
that-
Panther director.
exactly. So I'm looking forward to this because when Coogler and Jordan team up, usually they knock it out of the park. The Creed movies, Fruitvale Station, Black Panther, like you said. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I would see this without ever having to see any other trailer. Like I'm hooked on.
I would try to avoid
Yeah.
any of the trailer.
Actually, one of my resolutions for 2025 is to try to only watch the teaser trailer for these movies and not watch any others.
Okay.
As hard as I know it's going to be
That's
for
gonna be
some
tough.
of these. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, what is this? Like, it presents one way, but then it has a Lovecraftian type feel. And you don't really, I think by the end of it, like, what is going on here? This is strange.
Well, the opening shot is like it's a slow push in on Michael B. Jordan with his head down, and he's like shivering, like maybe he's terrified or something
Yeah.
traumatic has just happened.
Yeah.
And he lifts his head up and it's like he just looks like he's been going through it, and I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah. Like, that's Jordan Peele movies kind of have a similar feel to them almost. Like, I know that the cloud alien one.
Oh, no.
Nope. Yeah, it had a similar kind of the way the trailers were when that was
right.
presented.
You're right.
And it had a similar feel to it. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. It's one of those trailers you're like, I just want to figure out what's going on. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? All right, good one. So my next most anticipated movies of 2025 is Thunderbolts. We talked about another hero movie, and this is superhero movie, and this is all like I wouldn't say they're the cast-offs from other movies, but definitely the more secondary characters, kind of. And although I absolutely love Florence Pugh, I think she's the next one up. I love her in almost everything she does that I've seen her in. But I think pairing her with Sebastian Stan and Wyatt Russell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus in this, specifically David Harbour. Like, I think the star of the show outside of there's going to be from what I understand, a very powerful, unknown kind of person coming out of this movie that's going to be very impactful. David Harbour, I think, is going to be the star of this show. Like, I think this movie, his humor as the Russian Captain America,
Captain America, yeah.
basically the Red Guardian.
The red, yeah.
I think he's going to steal it with his comedy. I think
You
he's
think
gonna,
so?
Yeah, him and Florence Pugh. You can see it in the trailers. They already have. Obviously, they play father and daughter in the actual movie, but just like their back and forth banter, I think it's going to be hilarious. He's going to bring a sense of humor to like all of this, and what is essentially yet another version of Suicide Squad, almost in a way, a bunch of misfits put together to accomplish a common goal. And basically, this is going to be like the Temu Avengers, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to, for them to dive headfirst into that. Not go out of the superhero genre a little bit of being heroic, which I'm sure they will be, and they'll save the day and all of that stuff. But they also are. They know who they are. They know they're not Team A. They know they're the guys on the bench. But there's a more of a honesty and funniness, and that they can be in just knowing that they're not the Avengers. That's what I want them to lead into, and I think they will. So
Okay.
this comes out in May 5th. So we've got about another 6 months, 5 or 6 months to go for this one. So we'll probably get some more insight about some of the. I think they're hiding a special character that they're probably going to show to me, which kind of equates to a Superman level type hero that they're probably going to introduce in this movie, and could be actually ultimately the big bad in the movie that they haven't revealed yet. But we'll see. Maybe not. There's a lot of speculation out there about that. But at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of misfits coming together that we actually have history with, because they're all coming from either different projects, either television shows or movies that are Marvel superheroes, and they're coming together to form this team that is in the comic books as well. But I think it could have a jovial type of Guardians of the Galaxy type feel to it. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay.
So, Thunderbolts.
No, I'm excited about that movie too. I'm actually curious to see if it gets revealed that Alexei, Red Guardian, and Bucky fought when he used to be Winter Soldier.
Ah.
Because in the Black Widow movie, Alexei talks about how he fought Captain America, or how he wants to meet him and fight and see who's the better version. So I'm wondering, because we're familiar with Bucky's story after he was captured by Hydra. He's been the Winter Soldier for all these months and years leading up to the reveal in the Winter Soldier movie. So I'm wondering if him and Alexei ever crossed paths, because Natasha and
The Winter
the Winter Soldier have crossed paths before.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if Alexei has as well, if we'll get some of that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Probably have.
I just the one concern I have is, I hope they don't go love interest route with Bucky and Yelena. I don't want that.
Oh, I don't think they.
I could see it going that way, and I hope they don't.
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think they will.
I'm gonna take your word for it. But it's a great twist. I'm happy for this movie.
Yeah.
I actually don't care if this doesn't connect to anything else. It's just like a one and done, or if they just keep sending these guys on some random adventures. I'm okay with that. I just like some of the characters in like the cast, like you said. I want to see more of them, and this looks fun.
Yeah, and I think it's been it's already been confirmed that these characters are going to be seen again in the upcoming Avengers movies. So
Oh, okay.
that's good. It's good news. I mean,
All
that we're not done. We're not a one and done with this group, which is good.
Excited about that. Okay.
What's the next one on your list?
I'm just gonna jump right into horror.
Okay.
It wouldn't be an anticipated list without at least
That's
one
true.
horror
Look,
film.
I went into kind of with the gourds. I know it's not
You
really.
did, yeah.
But I did my toes in there, but I'm going to go ahead and let you go full body.
Yeah, I'm jumping all the way in.
Yeah.
This is The Conjuring: Last Rites, directed by Michael
This is the fourth Conjuring
Chambers.
movie.
Yes.
Look at me.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would even know
Because
that.
I think that I remember the last movie was called Conjuring 3.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, the devil made me do it. Which was it was different from the first two. It didn't really deal with demons or possession. It was a different story, but it was still good nonetheless. And it continued to dive deeper into the mythology of the Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are both real life demonologists. Well, they're both now past, rest in peace. But I mean, all these movies have been taken from they call it the Warren Files, and so they're based off of real cases that Ed and Lorraine Warren investigated, in the 70s.
Are they going to survive this one? Because it sounds like this is the final one.
Well, so in real life, Ed's been dead for a long time. Lorraine just died, I think, maybe recently, a year or two ago. So I don't think he died while they were in part of an investigation. So they can't kill them off, even though the last one did give Ed a heart attack issue, which was weird because he didn't die in any part of an investigation. I think he just died of old age or whatever. But I'm excited for this because this is the end of this franchise. It's the finale to say goodbye to these characters that are very endearing characters at the core. I know the hype about The Conjuring is you want to see the scary aspect of it, but the there's heart to every one of these movies, and it comes in these two characters, and if you really feel for them, and they're very much like a unit when they're out in these investigations. They have each other's back. They respect each other's opinions. So I'm excited to see more of that, and I hope it's something that I hope it's the scariest of the four. I have a lot of hype anticipation for it. There wasn't. We weren't sure we were going to get this movie, and so
Is that because 3 was a letdown?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, I was let down. It was vastly different from the first two, like I said, and it was just different. A different director. I think this is the same director that did the last one, so that makes me a little apprehensive. But again, it's a Conjuring movie. It's the most successful franchise in the Conjuring universe because there's spin-offs as well, and like The Nun and Annabelle, La Llorona, and all that. But I think James Wan is back to produce if it is the last one. So the fact that he's going to be involved in some capacity, that has me excited.
Okay, nice. You're talking about one in a pretty long series of movies there with The Conjuring. This is I think this might be the last, but I don't know. I say it, but it might be the last in a very long series of movies spanning, I believe the first one came out in 99, definitely in the 90s. I can't exactly remember when Mission Impossible came out. But this
the first movie was 96.
96, thank you. But this one's called Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And so the last movie was called Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. And then they retconned a bit after the movie had come out, and when it came out to digital, at some point, I don't know if it's at the beginning or at some point in the digital life of it, it changed its name to just Dead Reckoning, and they cut the Part 1 out of the title.
See, I didn't even know that until this trailer came out. I didn't know
okay.
that. Yeah, so this is kind of news to me.
So now they're calling it The Final Reckoning. It's a continuation of the story because the story is incomplete. Now, one of the big issues that I had with Dead Reckoning was the fact that they kind of gave away the MacGuffin in the very beginning of the movie with the submarine. And this movie is going to be about the submarine part of it. I'm not giving away too much of that. But there's a submarine, obviously, is a big part of what's in the submarine. That's a big part of what was in the Dead Reckoning movie that came out a couple of years ago. And now this is a continuation of that. Hopefully the ending of that. So the thing about Mission Impossible, it's always been a great combination of things, right? You've got a great, maybe the greatest of our lifetime lead actor in Tom Cruise, who is deeply committed to doing stunts and making the action feel as real and as genuine as possible, which is very rare. You've got a lot of people, they have huge action scenes that you kind of feel like, how can they one-up themselves? And it seems like every movie they kind of one-up themselves. There's always different directors on a lot of these movies, so you get a different feel. We had John Woo at one point. We had J.J. Abrams at one point. And this one's Christopher McQuarrie, who's continuing in this particular movie. I think he's done a good job. There's a polished sense to the filmmaking. It looks wonderful.
Well, it's a good sign that McQuarrie's coming back because he did Fallout.
Yeah.
Which to me is probably the best one.
Might be, yes.
And then Dead Reckoning, and now this one. So this is good that he's coming back.
Obviously, this stars Tom Cruise. Haley Atwell is new to the cast from last movie. Simon Pegg, Vanessa Kirby, Ving Rhames returns. Obviously, Rebecca Ferguson's character was. I'm sorry if I'm gonna spoil this, but she was killed off in the previous movie, which is a major thing when they kill off. I know that she's not maybe a quote unquote legacy character, but she had been in previous installments of this, and you felt like after her death, and everybody's open, like, you know, who's next? I kind of feel like maybe that'll continue in this movie, especially with the title The Final Reckoning. And I don't know if they've actually come out and said this is the final Mission Impossible movie. I think it will probably not be if it makes so much money.
Personally, do you think it should?
No. I'm fine with continuing.
Okay.
As long as Tom Cruise is believable. I know that it felt like they tried to do a handoff of Mission Impossible, like they tried to do with the same guy, Jeremy Renner, when they did The Bourne, and they gave Jeremy Renner Bourne Legacy, trying to be like a handoff for the Bourne franchise. I kind of felt like when they brought Jeremy Renner in at the height of his popularity back after that Bomb Squad movie that he did,
The Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker, huge off coming off that. And they put him. He felt miscast to me when he came into Mission
I thought so
Impossible.
too.
But I thought it was because they were trying to get him into that Tom Cruise type role. But no, nobody's replacing Cruise and hasn't for. I think he's been in it, over a decade or whatever since Renner came in, but and hadn't been back. When you think about it, no, as long as Tom Cruise can do it and is believable in doing it, why not?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like Sean Connery, like doing The Rock and doing Entrapment. He's like, okay. He's like in his 60s, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is like in her early 20s.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And we're supposed to believe that probably could happen.
Yeah.
But, Tom, I don't know if we're going to ever get to that point, but look, he was believable in Entrapment. He was believable in those movies. As long as this Cruise maintains, what he's got, at least, or something close, I don't see why you couldn't keep going. And even if he gets to a point where he physically can't do those things that he's done before, he could finally succumb to just having stunt actors do it, or just be more of a overseer or something like that in a role. Until they find someone they want to pass it off to. Maybe the Craven kid. Who knows? You know what I mean? They're going to talk about making him James Bond anyway. Why not make him be the new Ethan Hunt? But yeah, I think everybody who, especially if you're into the Mission Impossible franchise, you're looking forward to this. And you don't necessarily just watch for the story anymore. You watch because of the spectacle of the stunts and the big action scenes. I think that's kind of one of the bigger, or the biggest draw for a lot of people, is the spectacle of what is Cruise going to do next to top what they did the last one. What kind of crazy helicopter tricks or what they're going to be hanging off buildings by one hand, or what are they going to be doing, climbing the tallest building in the world or whatever. Like, they always bring that level of that level of work to everything that they do in these Mission Impossible ones. So what's next? And I think we're kind of all looking forward to that. So it's a spectacle. It's something to go see, something I look forward to. I'll be sad when they stop doing them, and I don't think they will, as long as they're making as much money as they are. I mean, how many movies on this kind of run can we even say have done this? I mean, many movies.
Want me to really say it?
No, I don't want to say Fast and Furious
because
they jumped the shark a long time ago. Especially when they start going to space in a car, it's too far. But I don't think Mission Impossible has gone that hadn't got that far yet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I personally don't.
I don't think so either. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I agree. I'm with you.
Good.
All right.
Cool. That's not on your list.
It's not.
You suck.
But it definitely deserves to
Dirty
be.
rat.
It deserves to be on my list, but it's not.
Okay. See, he's intentionally ignoring things that he should put on his list because he knows I'm going to have it on mine.
Right.
See. All right. I still think the 4 applies. But
Okay, because what I do is I do a list that I know Molly would do, and then start from scratch. That's what I do. But inevitably, a couple end up on there anyway. So where are we at now? How many do we have so far that are just the same? One, right? Just one.
Just one.
The Gorge.
The Gorge.
All right. I think this was going to be on both of our lists.
Okay.
And this is John Wick spinoff. This is Ballerina.
That is. That's the next one on my list.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think anybody who's a fan of this franchise who isn't excited about this movie.
That's true.
Maybe initially because there were some issues with having to do some reshoots.
Yeah.
Like the initial, I guess, screening of the film, the studio said there's not enough action in it.
The John Wick guys were like, this is not worthy of a John Wick
Right.
action-wise.
So they essentially almost shot the whole
From what
thing
I've heard.
from basically from scratch.
Yeesh.
My
I think they're
biggest
just adding some action scenes in.
Well, they
I think
did,
were
yeah.
filming from scratch.
They did. Well, I mean, they might have took out all the action scenes that were in it before, said we need to amp it up. But I'll start with my biggest concern first. My biggest concern is that Keanu Reeves is going to have too much screen time. And I can understand why the studio would want to do that, to kind of make this a bigger sell, get more people in the seats, because nobody really knows if Ana de Armas can carry an action film spin-off on her own, I think she can, because I've seen The Gray Man. We've all seen No Time to Die, and that little bitty sequence that she has, she shares with James Bond. I think she can do it, but I'm okay with Keanu Reeves being in the film in a limited capacity, like Halle Berry was in John Wick 3. If you give him that type of role and give him an extended sequence where they cross paths and then they have like a little shootout scene together and then they part ways, then I think that works. So yeah, if he ends up being like her trainer and he's her way into this, underground world of assassins, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. So from what I understand about the synopsis that I read on IMDb is it's pretty straightforward revenge movie. Like she's married, her family gets killed, and I guess it's by somebody, at the high table, and she just goes out looking for revenge, and she kind of gets caught up in this underbelly of the high table, and she crosses paths with John Wick and these other characters. Norman Reedus is in this. I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there is a part in the trailer where I think she asks John, she's like, I want to learn how to do what you do. Then they cut to like some other action sequence, I think, where she's got the water hose or the fire, the flamethrower against the guy that's doing the opposite, which looks really cool. And then they cut back to the scene of her and John, and he's like, I think you already have. So it kind of seems like she's going to figure out on her own, and that he just kind of maybe assist a little bit in one area of the film, but mostly it's going to be about her, and I hope it is that. Mm-hmm. And people that are curious about the timeline, this is around John Wick 3, because the scene where she first sees John in the trailer walking down the steps is when he goes to meet Angelica Houston, and she's training the ballerinas. So I don't know if maybe she has a history with them, and then maybe was hidden for whatever reason, for protective purposes. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how all that ties in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm for the same reasons as you. I don't foresee there being a lot of issues, regardless of how much John Wick is in the movie or not. I think we're going to be just a slight cameo. They may fight together, but ultimately it's her movie, and it should be as the first spin-off from the John Wick universe. But I don't have a problem with him being in there to help usher her in to that universe that has been dominated by him. So, there's nothing else to say. This was on my most anticipated list last year.
Same.
And they just ended up moving it to 2025. So I just ended up moving this movie over onto my 2025 list. So it's still there. Looks like a release date set for June 6th. So we'll have to wait another 6 months, but I think it'll be well worth it when it does come out. Directed by Lynn Wiseman, who at least started directing this movie. I'm not sure if he's finishing it. But that's from your Underworld.
1 and 2,
Yeah.
Total Recall. So there's a Kate Beckinsale lineage because
There is.
they were husband and wife.
So he knows how to do action, specifically female action.
And he also directed Live Free or Die Hard, which is one of my favorite Die Hards.
It is. It's mine as well. Okay. I think this is appropriate at the moment to speak about this. It's one of the more anticipated movies because this trailer just got released. It's first. They call it a teaser trailer. I don't think a teaser trailer is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's not a teaser. That's a trailer. But it didn't feature more than a couple words of dialogue. So it's just flashes of different scenes.
I think that's why they call it a teaser, because they don't really give you any chunks of dialogue.
Yeah. It felt like a trailer.
Yeah.
It's long enough to be one. So this is Superman, directed by James Gunn. So this is Superman, directed by James Gunn, starring David Corenswet.
So real quick, before you finish with the cast list, that name, again, talking to a guy yesterday, he was trying to ask me how to pronounce the name.
Yeah.
And
Corenswet.
his next concern was it doesn't sound like it sounds made up. But then I was like, but every movie star's name is made up.
Right.
But it doesn't have like, Christopher Reeve sounds cool.
It does.
Henry Cavill sounds cool. Brandon Routh sounds cool. Tom Welling, But yeah.
I think it's right.
But that last name, very strange to me.
As someone with a very unique last name that's sometimes hard to pronounce, I'm all right with it.
Okay.
Because if he's good enough and he's as good as he should be as Superman, you're going to tell your friend he's going to know how to say it by the end of the movie.
That's true.
because people are going to be talking about him a lot. And I think, here's the thing, I'm worried. I'm just worried. This is definitely one of my top most anticipated. I feel I'm anticipating this almost as much as I anticipated Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm that
Ooh.
level of anticipation. But maybe for the opposite reason, I'm more. Look, I've recently rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. The more I watch it, the more I realize how good James Gunn is. I think those movies, look, he did something with Guardians of the Galaxy that we haven't really seen done ever before, and that's introduce not just one new character, but introduce a group of brand new characters into an established world, Marvel. People that even in the comic, people didn't even know who they were, even though they've been a comic book before. Nobody had a clue who these guys. I mean, probably 99% of the people who watched this movie and love this movie didn't even know who Guardians of the Galaxy were before this movie. And he was not only able to introduce all of them at the same time, he was able to do it in space, on foreign planets, and with a funniness and a liveliness that not only made you laugh, but eventually care about the characters. Especially when we get into 2 and the father stuff and Yondu and I'm Mary Poppins and all that stuff. Like there's a reference to it, but there's also a deep love between the characters. A lot of great character building. It feels like a team. And he did that with freaking a space movie that nobody even knew anything about the characters. I say that he's able to work really well with an ensemble cast. And although this is about Superman, make no mistake, this is an ensemble cast of new characters that we've never seen on screen before that he is introducing. And whether you say that's Guardians of the Galaxy, whether you look at Suicide Squad, he's just able to do and create magic with an ensemble of new characters you're getting introduced to for the first time. So I'm giving him a lot of credit for that. And that's why I've got a lot of anticipation for it to be good. I'm almost equally as apprehensive that we're introducing too many things at the same time, and that's what the trailer felt like. Like I don't know who this robot is holding hands with. Why does Nathan Fillion have a bowl cut? I know why, but it just doesn't look right to me. Or then there's like Mr. Terrific, I think is the guy's name. I've never known anything about him, and they're just throwing in crypto, and I don't know how the dog is going to work out in all this.
Hot girls in it.
And all this getting thrown at us, right? But I also have to remember this is kind of like James Gunn's specialty. Like this is what he's really proven to us that he's good at, and I think he's a good, if not terrific, filmmaker, especially in this genre. So I'm giving him a lot of credit for that. I know there's a lot of flack about the suit and the guy playing it, but we'll see. And you know what? I think this guy. I think the guy looks very Superman-ish. I mean, I don't know if it's they want him to really. I think the feel is they want him to embody more of the traditional Christopher Reeves, not
Reeve.
Sorry, Reeve. Well, I say Reeves's.
Okay.
Reeves's kind of not innocence, but like his justice for all, his do right, don't kill. Just try the country, kind of the good old country boy type stereotype that from Smallville that always does right, always tries to do the right thing, and I think they're trying to introduce that with this guy. So so much to look forward to. I think in this movie, so many eye spectacles definitely, and I miss Superman, dude. I just miss having Superman in a solo movie, in his own movie. Haven't had it since Man of Steel. That was 2013. It's been over 10 years since we had a solo Superman movie. Like we had him in Superman and Batman. We had him in Justice League. But I want him to get it right. Can we just get it right? That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if this is going to do that. But everybody's really hyped about it one way or the other right now because the trailer just came out. But what were your takes on the trailer?
No, pretty much everything you said is what I would have said.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited about it. Too many characters. I do want to hear more of the scores. I know they're gonna use some of John Williams' themes in the actual
I think
score.
they're going to use both, what they had from Man of Steel.
Yeah, but
as
from what
well.
I read though about this movie is like James Gunn, like he's like he understands the pressure he's under to make a great Superman film, so much so that he, like most other Marvel movies and other Sony movies that in the Spider Verse that haven't done well, he's not going to tease a sequel or lead to anything else. It's going to be just a one and done in case it doesn't work. And if it does, then I'm sure he'll revisit the character and the story and the universe. But I like that approach because it's ambitious enough to say I'm going to do a Superman movie, but then you're going to take it a step further and say well, I'm going to do a Superman movie, and I already have plans for 2 and 3 and Justice League and all those other things. Let's just do one and see where it goes.
There you go.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
Let's go against type what we've been getting in modern comic book movie films. Let's just do a one and done. I'm excited about that, and I like that in this version of of Superman. He's already established. We don't need an origin story. He's been to Daily Planet. Him and Lois are together. Lex already hates Superman. I love
I don't
them.
know if they're together. Are they
Yeah.
together? That's right. They do show that.
And then Lex already hates Superman, so we've already gotten
Yeah,
past
that's
the
right.
origin stuff.
That's right.
And I'm actually, this is probably the first time I've seen Nicholas Hoult in the film. I'm excited to see what it does with the character.
Really?
Lex is so iconic, but I've seen Nicholas Hoult in a plethora of other movies, and he's just kind of like, it's like watching paint dry. Honestly, I know that sounds harsh, but
It does.
I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not. But the fact that he's playing Lex, James Gunn saw something in him. So he's got a lot of big shoes to fill. But Lex is one of my favorite all-time comic book characters. So I'm looking forward to see what he does with it as well.
Okay. Well, that was my pick, Superman. I think it's July 11th. That's the date, yes.
It is July 11th, yeah. Okay. Next movie for me is one I wasn't sure we were ever going to get, but I always deep down was hoping we would get it. And here we are, 2025, we're finally going to get it. And they're bringing the original core 4 characters back. This is Now You See Me 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's finally happening. This is going to be one of those I think flies under the radar until we see an actual trailer. I don't think a lot of people really know about this movie, but I've been actively looking and searching for this movie to see is it going to happen, is it not going to happen. And it is happening, and Ruben Fleischer's the director. I believe he directed the second one. So if you like the second one, you'll probably like the third one. The biggest difference is they're not bringing back, I can't remember her name from the department. She replaced Isla Fisher from the first one.
No,
But she's
drawing a blank.
But Isla Fisher's coming back for part 3. Would have been in part 2, but she was pregnant at the time of production, so she couldn't make it. So I like that they're bringing the core 4 back, and Jesse Eisenberg and Dave Franco, Woody Harrelson, and now Isla Fisher. And they're bringing back a few other characters from part 2 and also introducing new characters. That's where my concern comes in. Because you already have a bloated cast, and you're going to get screen time for everybody. That was kind of the concern I had with part 2. There's a lot of people and a lot of new characters that we're still trying to figure out what this universe is. These magicians, like what's this? What is the Eye, the secret Illuminati group? And now you have this whole other group of magicians trying to outdo the original magicians. And now you have the third set of magicians in part 3. So my concern is it's going to be too much time taken away from the core, which could ruin the story for me anyway. But the fact that we're even getting this movie, I think, is a feat in itself. So I'm excited to see it.
The thing that here's what I want from a movie that features all these different kinds of magicians is that and I think they tried to do this in the first one. I'm not sure they did it in the second one, but the biggest trick that needs to be played needs to be on the audience watching. Like whatever they're introducing at the beginning of the movie, by the end of the movie, you should feel that the rug had been taken out of that's what I want from one of these films.
So you want it to be more immersive.
I want it to be I think maybe smart. I want it to be smart, intellectual. I want it to be not just about the craziness that's happening on screen. I don't want the Mission Impossible of magic movies, right? Which is all spectacle. I want it to be a really thoughtful, witty, intelligent script, right, or storyline that even flips the audience on their head by the end of the movie. That's what I want.
Okay.
And I've seen that with other movies before. Like I think the movie that a lot of people haven't seen is called Confidence with Edward Burns. Kind of feels that way. Edward Burns, excuse me. And then I think that the Brothers Bloom kind of did that a bit because that reminded me of what's his name? Mark Ruffalo is in that first one. I don't know if he's in the second one or not. I can't remember. But
And Now You See Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. So Ruffalo was in Brothers Bloom. It's just kind of like it plays with it a bit. And even by the end, there's kind of I like it to be like a Shawshank Redemption type reveal by the end of it, where the trick is revealed. And like the entire movie itself is a trick. So that's the way I want to feel as an audience member. By the end of it, it's like, man, I didn't see that coming. They really got one over on me too. So that's what I'm hoping from these kind of movies.
Okay.
When it's Now You See Me. And they hinted at that. Like, I think Jesse Eisenberg in the first one plays a little card trick on the audience that's watching. And I think that, that's supposed to hint at, okay, well, I don't always believe what you see in this movie. So I want it to be the ultimate, like, rabbit out of the hat type moment by the end for us as an audience. So
Okay.
cross our fingers, that's what happened.
I just want to say before you go to your next one, the actress that replaced Isla Fisher in part two was Lizzie Kaplan.
Lizzie, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I said that I didn't think there was a lot of superhero movies, but there's another one here on my list. I want to see this new Fantastic Four that's coming out July 25th. It's called First Steps, but I don't think it's a great name for it.
It's
Fantastic
a bad
Four
name.
First Step.
Horrible name.
But I think the concept to me is sound. It's set in an alternate. It appears to be anyway, based on the trailer stuff that they showed. That was like a Comic-Con exclusive, but we're able to see it if you want to. It has a feel of a highly highly technical. How do I say it?
Technologically advanced in the 60s, though.
Yeah, dude. You're perfect.
That's why he got me here for you.
That was so good. Let me let you break it down.
I'm good.
Pedro Pascal is Mr. Fantastic in this movie. Vanessa Kirby's also in this movie. And there's a couple, the guy from Gladiator 2 is like Johnny Storm in this movie. And then one of the guys from The Bear, the television show. He's in it as well. I don't know much about those two guys as much as I know about, obviously, Pedro and Vanessa Kirby. But yeah, so Matt Shankman is taking the helm of this Fantastic Four, and the fact that it's set in this kind of future the future. It's like the future is set in the past. Like it's like the Jetsons almost. It feels like that's where it's coming from.
Yep.
That's intriguing to me. That they are already established heroes. We're not necessarily seeing maybe an origin story in this, but they are who they are. And now how do they get from there to being in the Avengers Doomsday? Or, that there's going to be some kind of journey. They hinted at Galactus, did more than hint, but Galactus is going to be, I don't know if he's going to be the big bad in this movie or if he's just the looming threat. I haven't really said much about that, but if it is Galactus, that's huge, but I don't know how you step down from Galactus to Doctor Doom in the next Avenger.
Well, I mean, I think Silver Surfer is also going to be in this movie, right?
A version, yes.
A different version from.
Yeah. So, but how big? Are they the actual villains of this movie? Or, that very well could be that they're trying to stop, Galactus from eating Earth or whatever, consuming Earth. That would be huge. I just don't know. That seems like a huge thing to tackle right before you go into Avengers Doomsday, what it's called. It just seems massive. It's like, okay, so is this Fantastic Four going to conquer and defeat Galactus? And then they're going to go fight Victor Doom? It just seems like a step down. I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? That's like a huge thing to go to then this. So that's why I'm thinking it's more hinted at, or there's just some, whenever. So I don't know. We don't know much about it other than the things that we've talked about it being in that Jetsons world. So, but I think the style that they're bringing to it's more niche, more 60s futuristic. I'm looking forward to that. And we haven't had. I don't know. They haven't gotten Fantastic Four right. Let me just say it like that. I don't feel like in the early 2000s they didn't seem to get it. They did. They made two, but they just didn't seem to be exactly right. And then the last one with Michael B. Jordan and what's his name?
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
Yeah.
That obviously flopped pretty bad. So this version isn't going to be the one that everybody relates to. Like, look, we're looking. There's shoes to be filled with, even though they're all coming back for a movie. There's shoes to be filled in the Marvel universe for the lack of Iron Man, for the lack of Captain America now, and some people think the the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are what's going to fill that void. And we don't have the X-Men yet, although we got Wolverine back for a little while. This version of the Fantastic Four is that going to help fill the void? Well, I don't know. We'll have to see, but I'm excited to watch it. And that's July 25th when we're going to get a chance to do that.
All right, so we get Superman and we get Fantastic Four in the month of July.
Same month. Yeah. So
Happy birthday to me.
it's gonna be one of those months, one of those Julys.
And I think, wait, when is Mission Impossible? Isn't it also July?
Yeah. Let me look. Leave my list. No, May 23rd.
Okay. Oh, so we have Thunderbolts and Mission Impossible in May. We have Superman and Fantastic Four in July.
July.
Okay. That's a good.
There's also another big one that's happening in July that we may talk about.
On your list? All right, I love the tease. I think anytime you can get Vanessa Kirby twice in a year is going to be a great year.
It's a good.
So to get her in Mission Impossible and then also in Fantastic Four, I'm all in for that.
Here we go.
100%.
If they do Hobbs and Shaw, she might be in that one too. Huh?
If she's in it, I'll go see it. I'll put it that way. So I'm gonna go back to Steven Soderbergh, like I had teased earlier, and this is also the second horror film on the list that I'm looking forward to.
Ooh.
This stars Lucy Liu.
I love Lucy Liu.
So do I.
I like Elementary. I'm an Elementary. fan.
Also, with what you just said, could we possibly get like a? It might be racist. I shouldn't say it. A Chinese version of "I Love Lucy" called "I Love Lucy Liu."
Dude. I know, but I think we should make those T-shirts immediately and sell them.
Okay. Hey, I'm 100% with that too. We get some merch. I love Lucy Liu. But Lucy Liu, and if you saw, what's that movie with Adam Sandler? It's the serious movie, Uncut Gems.
Uh-huh.
So Julia Fox played his girlfriend in that movie.
Okay.
She's basically a nobody. Got with Kanye for a little bit. Got
Jeez
big
Louise.
because of that. I mean, it's the truth.
You're stepping on people here, man. What's going on
She's
here?
attractive, but she's a user. Anyway,
Dear goodness gracious.
this movie's called Presence. This movie actually comes out this month in January,
Oh.
which is surprising because most people like us know January is considered the dumb job, like, of Hollywood films.
Yeah, they just dump the movies they don't think are going to make money. Although I think recently I've seen more and more of them, like, they see it as an opportunity because there's a scarceness of quality movies at the time. So I think some of them are taking the step of like, let's release movies that we think are good, but maybe when they go up against tentpole movies in June and July, they're not going to make as much money. But if we put it in January, it'll be the only good thing in January or that week.
Right. Also because expectations are lower too, right?
Yeah.
For movies that come out at that time of the year. So you got a good point. I'll be there though because this is supposed to be like, it's being touted as revolutionizing the horror genre.
Why?
So if you see the trailer, everything is shot from the POV of the camera, but the camera's like floating in every shot. So the idea is that this is a horror film about, I guess, a past, someone that's passed on, a loved one that's died, but the whole film takes place from the POV of the ghost.
Oh, okay.
And that's why the camera's floating in almost every shot. So there's like an eerie creepiness, like a voyeuristic tone to the trailer because it's just the camera's always floating, just hovering over someone's shoulder, above somebody in bed, or like watching and just whatever's going on.
Like a disembodied soul
Exactly.
holding the camera.
Yeah, but then there are like some supernatural elements. Like there's one shot in the film or the trailer where like the whole house is shaking or the bedroom is shaking and people are freaking out and don't know what's going on. So it could be this entity, this person that's passed on, this presence, like has some kind of ability in this, I guess, nether realm that they're in or whatever, that they can control things, kind of like a poltergeist, basically. So I guess this is kind of like Poltergeist from the POV of the poltergeist. That's like the elevator pitch. And
Okay.
it's Steven Soderbergh, which he's never done horror, so I'm interested to see him do this because he usually has a very specific tone, sticks with drama or thriller like he does with Black Bag that's coming out, this year. So see him venture out into horror films.
Didn't he have a kind of a horror-ish type film with a iPhone camera or something that was filmed? It was like Unraveled or
Oh,
something?
so that's Unsane.
Unsane.
Yeah, it wasn't a horror film. It was more like a psychological thriller, is what I
Okay,
would call it.
okay.
I actually saw that in the theater with a friend of mine, and what got me hyped was one, Steven Soderbergh was attached,
Right.
and two, that he shot it out using iPhone 7s.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it wasn't just point and shoot. Yeah, he had attachments that he used, and I actually read articles on the types of equipment he used with the phone, and that's kind of what's helped me shoot my films and my content using my phone because I bought the same type of equipment he's used. But it was cool because you can get obviously shots you can't normally get with the regular rig and studio camera. A great movie though, great movie. I highly recommend Unsane actually.
So did that give you any confidence that he's going to be able to do a kind of a horror film?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
Okay. Okay.
That's a great reminder. Yeah, Unsane.
All right. So the next films that I have on here, I don't have much to talk about because there's just not much about them, and that kind of happens with these lists because I think we talked about last year we talked about Wolves, because it just because it had Brad Pitt and George Clooney in it, and that was really all we had to go on at the time, and then we would kind of later find out that it's probably not one that we liked very much, but. This is similar in the fact that, well, I don't know much about this movie. They just came out with the first images of Scarlett Johansson in this movie. But this is Jurassic World Rebirth.
So disappointed.
Now, should we even have a level of excitement for this movie? Well, Scarlett Johansson's in it. Mahershala Ali is in this as well. So two very talented actors. The thing that gives me, and this is a July 2nd release, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So July's going to be packed.
Yeah, it is.
The director, for me, makes me a little bit more excited for this. Gareth Edwards is going to be directing this.
Okay. I might have to go
So
see
now
this.
we're starting to shift. Gareth Edwards, for the guys that you guys that don't know, he was the movie that I got introduced to him with is Monsters, where he did all the special effects, filmed him himself, was guerrilla filmmaking it down in Mexico and doing all those things. A great introduction. He did Godzilla off the back of that because of the way he handled monsters. Most recently, he did the cybernetic sci-fi film with
The creator,
Washington.
John David Washington.
John
yeah.
David Washington. I liked it.
Visually, that was stunning too.
It does. I really like that movie. And,
Also, Rogue One too, right?
he did Rogue One, probably the best of the side storyline Star Wars movies. Maybe the best Star Wars movie we've seen in quite a while. So Gareth Edwards, man, at the helm of this. That's what makes me excited for this movie. And so we haven't seen anything from it yet. And I know it's another Jurassic Park movie, and it feels like we've had enough of that. We had the legacy people come back with the new cast in the last one, and it was just kind of meh. But now we've got new stars and a very well-established director at the helm that I think is going to bring something more unique to it. I don't know what that's going to be, but it was exciting enough in order to get Scarlett Johansson to jump on this very already well-tracked franchise that's already been done, and we've kind of seen everything from it. But with Gareth Edwards involved and maybe what's in the script, it was enough to attract talent like Ali and Scarlett Johansson. So there's a space to be optimistic about there. And the other two movies that I have on my list, and I'll just say them, and why Jurassic Park clearly gets a nod over these two movies is Tron Ares. I'm a big Tron.
Okay.
I'm a big Tron Legacy fan. I'm not huge, but I'm pretty big. Pretty big Tron Legacy fan. So I'm interested to see where they go. with this. The teaser of it was interesting, and it looks like the Tron world is going to be leaking into the real world based on some of the trailer stuff that I saw, the sneak peek stuff, I should say. And then one that I don't know anything about other than who's attached is The Running Man. I want to see. They say that it's going to be more like the Stephen King novel. That I like Edgar Wright. I think Edgar Wright as director is going to bring something unique visually and story wise to it. And I think Glenn Powell's. I know that Mike's not a big fan, but I think that I think you're going to be surprised by his talent range this year. Like I said, he's doing that comedy, that sports comedy. Chad Powers. So we're going to see his comedic side a little bit more, and then we'll see what The Running Man. Now if The Running Man is what it's going to, if anything like the movies that it was, then Glenn Powell is just the man experiencing all this craziness, which is basically like, what is that? The gladiators from the '80s. Those
American Gladiators.
American Gladiators. It's basically like super violent American gladiators, and the real key to that is who's going to play like the Richard Donner Dawson.
That's what everybody's wanting to know.
That's the real. I think maybe that's the key to that.
I heard James Brolin's name being thrown around. Josh Brolin's name being thrown around. I don't think that's the right fit. That
like, oh man, I need to think about it a little bit. But there's somebody that's out there. Maybe like it's gotta be somebody who could be a convincing talk show host or I guess it's a sports show host, but that has some kind of likability. I don't know.
But yeah, I think it's going to be pivotal whoever they get for that role.
Nick Cage.
Oh, he could 1,000% do it. Are you kidding me?
That psycho part of it.
Yeah, I would love to see him in that role. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sign me up for some Nick Cage.
Nick Cage. So
he's just unhinged enough for that.
It is. Someone on that level. Yeah. So that's my entire 2025 list. Because I don't know much about the others, it's just easier. And I do put the Jurassic Park just slightly over those other two because it has the potential
as you should
to be something kind of cool.
That's valid.
If they figure out a way to do it differently than what they've done the last three times.
Well, I think with Gareth Edwards,
yeah,
I think that's a huge positive sign in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because he'll bring something special to the franchise that the last few with Chris Pratt haven't. Mm-hmm. Those are just kind of mediocre. It's like, oh, it's just more dinosaurs. Well, go because we're still so nostalgic about the original. But this, I think, is going to set it apart and make it something special again.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, like if he wasn't attached, I wouldn't go see this. And I love Scarlett Johansson. I love Mahershala Ali. But that wouldn't be enough to get me to go watch Dinosaurs for the 15th time.
Yeah. They're going to have to bring something different.
So once I get this one, I said I'll probably need 2 trailers for this one.
Yeah.
I know I previously said just one, but yeah, I'm going to need at least 2.
They're going to need to bring something different to the dinosaur genre that they've been doing.
Because the teaser trailer is going to just do what every other teaser trailer for this franchise has done. Just give us cool-looking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We're not going to get the story until the second trailer. I need that second one.
Yeah.
So that's a great list. I like all those. And we both were wrong. You said we'd have 4. I said we'd have 2. We had 3. And that was The Ballerina of the Gorge and Tron Ares. I had that on my list as well.
Okay.
What excites me about that is basically what you said. I'm a fan of Tron Legacy. I'm also a fan of Jared Leto. Evan Peters is also in this. I'm a fan of him. Jeff Bridges is going to return again in some capacity. And Jodie Turner-Smith, who she's kind of like an up-and-coming actress, started to get a lot of critical acclaim as like, hey, look out for her because she's the real deal. And the fact that they're taking this into the real world, I'm really excited about that.
My biggest concern is the Jared Leto part of it. Not because he's not a good actor.
Yeah.
His choice, I haven't really liked his movies choices. Morbius, even the Joker in the Suicide Squad. He might have been, I don't know. It wasn't him that was the problem in that movie, but I don't know. So when I first heard he was attached to it, I didn't think of it as, that's a win for the franchise.
Gotcha.
And I'm still not convinced.
Okay. Well, I've got two left, and there's a little bit about both of these, so I'll go ahead and finish my
Hit
list.
him, hit him.
Number 9 for me is The Amateur.
Amateur.
This is Rami Malek and John Bernthal. Rami Malek is a CIA analyst, like he's behind the desk, and his wife gets killed, and he decides he wants to go after the guys that, killed his wife. So it's almost like American Assassin with the kid from the Maze Runner. It kind of reminds me of that, Dylan O'Brien. Boy, but this guy's already a part of the CIA. He's just an analyst, so he's not a field agent. But he has to start. He realizes in the trailer and I'm sure in the story, like, I can't do what the in the field guys do. I gotta figure out a different way to get these guys. So he uses his smarts. It's almost like Mr. Robot gets revenge. It's almost like it's Mr. Robot. You kill my wife, so I'm gonna get you from behind this screen. Which makes me think of this line from Skyfall when Bond goes to meet the new Q, and they're kind of having this back and forth, this wordplay, and he gives James the new gun that's like fitted with his DNA. And Bond says something to the effect of, you have to know when to pull the trigger. And then Q says, or when not to, or how to push a button. So it kind of reminds me of Rami Malek's character in this. Like, he's going to be more of the guy to be more cerebral, not so much in your face with guns and explosions. It's going to be from behind this computer screen, taken out, and a lot of tech, which is kind of telling for the era that we're in now. Tech is everything. So to see a revenge plot with the CIA involved and using technology, that has me enough to be invested already. Last on my list, again, one that we don't know much about, but Leo is in this, so I'm already in.
There you go.
And this movie is called The Battle of Bactan Cross. And this is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, which I've never seen any of his films. I know it's surprising to some people listening. Like, how have you not? You're the movie guy.
Yeah, you've
seen a Paul Thomas Anderson film.
PTA. You must love PTA.
I love some of the moms. Hold on.
No.
No, this is also stars. Is this the right movie? No, this is right. Yeah, it's got Leo, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, Wood Harris, Regina Hall, and Tiana Taylor. So stacked cast. So I expect this to be incredible, off the charts. Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, come on. I assume he's amazing.
I assume he's amazing. Wait now, did he do The Life Aquatic and
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a certain style that he has that I'm surprised Bill Murray's not in this movie. That's what I'm saying. Right. It feels like he's in every PTA movie.
He might get a cameo, but this looks like, from what it seems like reading the synopsis, like a straightforward like crime drama, which Leo is notorious for doing very well. Like
Leo does everything.
I think, well, it's true, but I think they're like, he's a part of this bank robbing crew.
Okay.
And that's really all. There's no trailers
there's
out.
not much about
There's
it.
been a few like set photos released on the internet, leaks, but we don't know anything else.
And that's it, folks. Some of these movies, we just know the players and who's directing, and that's what we have to go by. 6 months from now, when that trailer gets first released, we might look at it and go, wow, that's the new Johnny Dangerously. I'm not watching that. But that's a deep pull, by the way. But yeah, that's it, huh? That's our list.
That's it. And it's inevitable, like it was last year, that the way we start off is not going to be the way we finish.
That's true. And look, this is what we did this past year. We took our list for most anticipated movies for 2024, and then at the end of 2024, we went through our best movies of the year, and then we went back and looked at our most anticipated and see what matched. So hopefully we'll do the same with this. I was about 70% on my list last year. So
that made the list from the beginning to the end.
That were in my most anticipated.
Yeah.
That actually did make my top 10.
I was like 20 or 30%.
Yeah,
I was real low.
But I'm not seeing as many as you are, so your hit rates are a lot higher. And then I had some on my list that maybe shouldn't have made the list if I'd been a little bit more cultured and seen more things. So.
What we got to do this year? We got to actually try to catch one of these movies together.
No, see, that's going to have to be a Patreon exclusive. If you want that, join us on Patreon. No, I've often thought about that. Like, for as many movies we go see, and we talk about movies all the time, We have never seen a movie together. But now I will say this: seeing a movie together and talking about movies later on, two totally separate things. Because even if I see the movie with you, the fun of it's not watching it with you. The fun of it is talking about it afterwards.
Agreed. Yeah.
We're not going to sit there and talk during the movie and while we're watching. So even though we experience it separately, we're still talking about the movies afterwards. That's what this podcast is great for. But look, if we get enough of you on Patreon, no, I'm just kidding. We don't have a Patreon. But no, it's like, yeah, that could be a perk. We're gonna say, hey, me and Mike will go see a movie together and record it. If you, well, let us know if you want that to happen. I don't think it brings much benefit because our best stuff is when we afterwards. Otherwise, they're just watching us ooh and ah at a movie screen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And who wants to look at me for 2 hours?
But honestly, it's kind of weird that as a friends and how much movies connect us, we've never seen one together. That is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I didn't ever thought of it. Maybe if you lived in the area again,
I see where
that
this is
could
going. All right.
potentially be a reason, like one of those 3 movie marathons that Mike goes on.
Ooh.
Maybe Mully joins for one. Because like 2 of them are going to be horror films. Let's be real.
Of course.
Let's be real. And so I'll join you for whatever Hallmark movie that you have in between the 2.
All right.
So that's the movies on our list. Can we just go really quickly back through, just as a recap of each one of our lists, and then we can wrap it up. But my most anticipated movies of 2024: The Gorge, Captain America: Brave New World. 2025. Sorry,
See, look at you.
I'm not in that mode yet.
Living in the past.
The Gorge, Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, Ballerina, Jurassic World: Rebirth, Superman, Fantastic Four, Tron: Ares, The Running Man. I think that's more than 10. What are your lists there?
And I've got Black Bag, Sinners, The Conjuring, Last Rites, Ballerina, like you already said. Now You See Me 3, Presence, again, The Gorge, The Amateur, The Battle of Bacton Cross, and like you said, Tron: Ares.
All right, now that's our list of most anticipated movies for 2025. What are yours? We want to know what your most anticipated lists are. Take some from Mike, like a buffet. Take a little of Mike's, take a little of mine, sprinkle in some of yours, and then we want you to send that list to us either on one of our social medias. We got a lot of folks. You probably have one of them: Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Any of those 4, leave it in the comment section, send us a message, shoot over choice. We want to know what your movies are, if what should have been on our list. Tell us what should have been on our list that wasn't on our list, and what are you looking forward to. We want to hear that interaction from you. Until next time, we can't wait to see you here in 2025 for another great year of this podcast. And Mike, they just keep going, man. We just keep making lists, keep getting great ideas. And you know what? I think in 2025 it might be the year of the special guest, because we may have some special guests coming in 2025, ladies and gentlemen. And some of them are going to be you, the listeners. So stay tuned for that. Mike, how do we wrap this one up? It's going to be hard.
I'm going to keep it safe this time. I've been a little edgy lately with the
the corporation that is Mike. Mike fully supports everything that Mike says at this point. Go ahead.
But it's New Year, fresh start. It's like a fresh little pad of snow after it's been snowing all night. This is a time of excitement, really, for not just movies, just in life. It's a fresh start, clean slate. Anybody who did wrong, forgive them. Make it right with them, and if you're afraid to go out there and do something, just take the leap anyway and see where you land. It builds character, and you never know where it's going to take you in life.
The things that you've always wanted to do, go out and do them. Everything but a podcast, because you know what? You got that joint filled right now. You got it checked on your box with Mike and Mully's Top 10 Movie Pod. Thank you for joining us once again and joining us on this ride for another brand new year. Happy 2025 to us. We hope you're doing well, and we hope to see you here when we get back on the air with you very, very soon. Thank you for listening. Y'all have a good one. What's with the caca?
I'm going to do a new outro every time.
It's going to be animal noises every time?
You never know what it's going to be. You'll never know what it's going to be.
Hey.